Yeah.
Welcome back. All right, we've still got a couple of minutes to go for those file conversions, those images to be converted. So, I think I was asking you before, what format are you thinking of using for these history videos?
Like show the location or what's left of it, if that's the case, and then go through the history.
Okay, so you're going to be like, I'm at Flinders Street Station. It was built, blah blah blah. The history behind it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how are you going to do the research?
Go through the websites. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in this page. Hold on. I'll check what it's called. It's called like Victoria Railways Past and Present,
Yep.
which they have information about a variety of things rail
Yep.
related.
Okay. Um, so let's say you go to, I don't know, the old Holden station, for example, because we know that one's been abandoned for decades now. But the platforms are there and the bridge is falling apart.
Mm.
So I'm taking you're going to get images of that, hopefully, back in the day, possibly footage, and match that in to tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what's the actual plan of? I think you were talking about one station in particular you were going to start at, or are you going to start at a particular point and go through? Because I mean, for me, the way I would do it is go um, start basically at the very beginning, which is obviously Flinders Street to down to Station Pier, and then sort of the history as it expands out as each of the lines were built.
So like a timeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way it tells the story from the beginning. It's not going to be, you look at one station and then you jump to another, and that can be a bit disorientating for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what I the way I would manage it is to start at the beginning. So um, there is actually quite a number of photos that have come up on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Facebook from a group I'm with that have shown a lot of the. Um, yeah, Harry, the photos are just finished. I'm going to wait and see if Jamie wakes up and joins, and then we'll go from there. But if he doesn't, we'll go for a little bit. We'll just continue this chat with Zane a bit, give him a bit of a chance. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and then that way you're looking at the individual. Um, Obviously looking at from the Hobson's Bay line. Um, depending on how in depth you want to go, you could start talking about what ended up being the mismatch of the gauges between New South Wales and Victoria, and a little bit of the history behind that. Um, so there's all those sorts of things that you can end up doing, different ways of presenting that story, keeping it brief. And that way you can make it as, pretty much each episode as a standalone feature on its own. So let's say I want to know a bit more about the upfield line, for example. I can just jump to that video,
Yeah.
on a particular station I want a bit of info on. So yeah, so you've got a lot of research to do. You ever been to the Public Records Office?
No.
Okay. Well, they're in North Melbourne. They're not actually very far from the station. So what I would recommend you do is go and have a look on their website, which is prov.gov.vic.au, I think, or just a general search. It's can be a bit complicated. I might make another video on this a bit later on, how to actually go through the process of finding records you want from them, because your search terms might be a little bit different than what you think. So if you went in there, for example, and you put in Hobsons Bay Rail, you'll get a few documents and a few things. Now, you'll find quite a number of photos that are in the public record that you can access online. But as far as the actual text records that they have, you'll actually have to physically go in and get them, or you can go online, join up, and order copies of them. So the way the process works there is, if you're online at home and you find a record on the formation of the Hobsons Bay Rail Company, for example, and you're interested in that document, you book that document, and what that means is an archivist will go out, physically find that file, bring it out to the reading room for you. Now, if you're not actually there, or you can't attend, like, for example, you live miles away, you can then get them to make copies now and send you out physical copies of them. Now, and that is for a fee. So again, what the process there will be is, you'll find the document online, you'll order it, the archivist will pull it out, they'll work out how much it's going to cost you to have that document scanned and sent to you. And I'm pretty sure they'll either do that as electronic, or they may do it in hard copy, whichever one works for you. And then they'll give you the quote, then you say yay or nay, you get the approval, then they'll pull that file back out, make the copy, and send it to you. The National Archives in Canberra do pretty much the same thing. Another research resource that will give you a lot of history as well on Hobsons Bay is the online newspaper archive at Trove. That's a searchable database, so that will list just about everything. It has the news article, for example, on when they opened the Geelong rail line and that guy died on the train. So that has that news story. It has other things, and then we'll go. You can actually copy those articles out yourself, download them as PDFs or as images files link. If you want, you can also order actual physical copies of the article. So, depending again on how you want to go for this, I'd recommend you try scripting as much as you can. And if documentary script is very different to that of a narrative story script. That's another thing I can go through and show you guys on how to do those as well. There's a set format for a story script, something like an episode of Home and Away, or, Star Wars or Doctor Who or any of those. There's a particular format the script's written in. Documentaries, not so much. They kind of list the background to the story, because ideally, a documentary tells the story of an incident or an episode or a point in history, and in this case, it will be a point in history. You'll need to put in a bit of the human element as well. So, who are these people that formed the Hobsons Bay Rail Company? You find their names and do a bit of research into who they are as people, and then you can go from there. Yeah. Okay, Harry. Do you want to message Jamie again and see if you can wake him up? I know you were saying earlier he wasn't well, so he may not turn up, but we'll give him another 5 minutes. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, as I said, I think I showed you some of the beginning of the one I'm doing for the safety video, which is, yeah, it's taking a while, that one, because there's a lot of stuff I've got to cover, and I've got to cull back bits and pieces of it to hopefully make it fit. Because the thing is, with a lot of workplace health and safety, which is the same kind of deal that you people will be at, you go visit a, see them all for the open day, for example, you'll notice there were things around that were barriers between you and the rolling stock and other bits and pieces of the facility. There's other things that'll be there, but each of those will get explained in this video. And of course, a lot of that is let's see this message again. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. So I think you've got a fair bit on your plate coming up. Because I think the first thing you're going to have to do is the research, and then once you've done the research and you've planned out the kind of the narrative of the story, as much as taken away the any bias that you might have in telling the story, then might be the better. I can't envisage there being too much bias in the way you'd tell a story. In this case, of the history of a rail line and a station, etc. However, there's also going to be, you'll find a fair bit of politics that goes on as well as at the time when the rail line was first put forward and all that. So, you might have a different political persuasion or ideology compared to the people that were around at that time. So that's something to be wary of, so that you're not putting your personal viewpoint across, unless it's relevant to that point where you can turn around and say, but you make it obvious. You say something along the lines of, I don't hold the ideology of this particular party in modern times. However, back then that was quite the norm. That's why they did things the way they did. In today's world, we probably wouldn't do that way. We'd be more considerate, or whatever the thing is. However, that's what happened back then, and this is why we're with what we've got now. So that kind of thing. Probably one of the other areas where you'd want to look at with the railways as well, if you're going that far, is again with the differences between the so-called standard gauge and broad gauge. The reason it's called standard gauge is because that was the gauge that was chosen by the royal family, I think the Queen, back at the time when the railroads were being put all over the UK. So that was the gauge that was the standard. Everything else was a variation of. Of course, in Victoria and South Australia, we went with the broad gauge, which is the Irish gauge, whereas New South Wales went with the standard gauge because, they wanted to follow. So, from a technical and legal standpoint, probably Victoria and Hobson's Bay were, in breach of the law when they chose that gauge. But, here we are. So,
yeah.
So I think probably the best thing you can do is to sit down with pen and paper or the computer or whatever works for you, and just plot it out, in point form to start with what you're looking at getting, and then just build. So you can ask the question, how did the railways develop in Australia? And obviously starting with Victoria, looking a bit more, that kind of thing. So, well, I don't know if Jamie's still around or Josh. I've got a feeling Josh might have snuck out of the house today. So I don't know. All right, I think what we'll do is we'll start this little tutorial part off. Okay, so I'll share my screen if I work out how to do that. So that button I want. There we go. Share the screen. Okay, we'll go entire screen. Share system audio. I guess that's all we want. How does this work? Okay. Close that down for the minute. Close that down. Okay. No, that's not what I want. They're already been converted. They can bugger off. What I want is this one. Okay, so this is what do you call it? The DaVinci Resolve 18, the free version. We're going through. So I'm going to go there. Go new project. Yeah, come on, computer. I must create. Now we're creating. Have any of you used this program before?
I haven't.
Okay. So I'll go to Media Pool. These files I want. My data converted files. Nope, I'll find where we're at. Okay, select all. So this is an image sequence that I'm dropping into the media pool. Come on, hurry up. So as you can see, each one of these is an image on its own. I think it is populating. It's taking a bit. Oh, I don't want that one. So what camera do you use, Zane?
I just use my phone.
iPhone
11.
Right. Now, as you can see, each one of these is marked as individual. So I've gone up to these three dots up here. File display type, I don't want auto image, I want sequence.
The screen isn't moving.
Isn't it? Can you see my mouse move?
No, the mouse isn't moving.
Okay. Not sure what's going on here. Might have to investigate. Screen share. Share square. What about now?
Yep, that works.
Okay. It's might have chose it right. Okay. So as you see, I just dragged and dropped the media in as individual images. If we go up here to the three dots, and we've got the display mode for an auto, individual, and sequence. It should. What's going on here? Yeah. Hang on, I'm going to start this again. I'll move you at the road. Build off. Here we are. Before I go back to media. Okay, I'm going to try something here. Isn't it great when things go according to plan?
Mm.
So, okay, let's try again. Media pool. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, so now it's actually done it. Good. What it's done there is collated. If I go back to file frames, I go individual. They're all the individual frames. So basically a photo of each. I go back frame. I want sequence. I drop that down into the media pool. I go back to basic edit. And now I have it in my timeline. Pretty simple and straightforward. And as I play it, you'll notice though I've got these black bars here, and there's a bit of shake in the camera because it was a pretty windy day. It's also frame dropping at the moment because my computer's slow. All we can do is stop it. We go back to the start. Yes, let's go to stabilization. Pardon me, perspective. We'll try similarity and see what happens. We're analyzing that. So I take it you've got a PC or laptop?
Yeah, on my laptop. Now.
Okay, cool. So now we just wait for a bit. It seems to be going pretty slow today. So what about you, Harry? What editing software do you use? Nearly done. Come on. Okay, so we just zoomed in. Let's see if that did anything. Okay, shoot for a minute. The rain came in, which was fantastic. Okay, we had a few frames on the end there we were supposed to have. All right. Well, what are you asking, Harry? What do you want in the main chat? So that looks about... The timeline video. I'm out of. Well, that's okay, Harry. This will be going straight up to YouTube, so it'll be available there if you've got to go. So. Okay. Yeah, right. Is that right? Yeah, that last bit wasn't meant to be there. So would he's trim it up. Doesn't want to trim. Okay. Oh well, that's a slight error. So I don't know how those files got into that thing, but anyway, the other thing we'll do is we'll zoom into the image. I'll go back and yeah, you can't quite see the shake in that now. In case you're wondering, this was shot one frame every second. So one shot, a second later, a second shot, etc. So that's why this looks like it's going pretty fast. Or those trains are going pretty quick, and these things are up the back. Of course, I could go up to an hour between shots if I really wanted to. I don't know if that'd serve any purpose. So, okay, well, I think that's sort of it for this little one. I'll stop sharing and go back. So, yeah, all right. Well, there you go. That's pretty simple on how you do it. Create a time lapse video from an image sequence. Might do another one on a few other bits and pieces. And later on. Certainly encourage you guys, if you've got a laptop or computer, to grab a copy of this program. It's starting to take over from Final Cut and another one, Adobe. Premiere and Adobe Premiere Pro, whatever it is. So, and it does a hell of a lot more. It's probably up there with Avid Media Composer, which is Pro Tools, basically. We'll see what time we do this in the morning, Harry. I think some of the others are probably going out chasing a thing tomorrow. I think there's a steamer running or something over that way. So it may not be, I may not do anything again until tomorrow evening. Because I've got to try and cater as best as I can for everyone else, especially if they're going to jump on and have a bit of a discussion with me over whatever they want to talk about. So we've got to be considerate of that too. But you know, and at some stage too, Harry, I'd like you to actually pop on, even if you only just start with the open mic and have a chat. And then, we can advance things on. So, yeah. So, all right, Zane, you got any questions?
No questions.
No questions. All right, so that's another half an hour. So I think that's about an hour and a half, something. All right, well, what I might do is I might jump off. And again, see, this one will be available up on YouTube. I'll probably put a link to, both of them into the chat. I'm not sure as I said, I'm not sure what's going on with Jamie. He seemed to be in a bit of a mood earlier this morning. So, and he did say he wasn't feeling well. So, yeah. So, any questions from you, Harry? All right, so no. All right, well, as I said, I might do one tomorrow morning, or I might do another one later tomorrow evening. I'm guessing it's still going to be a school night tomorrow for most of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Alrighty, boys, girls, I'll bid you farewell. Have a great evening, and I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.